Hey there, Launch Coders. Zoltan Vardy here, founder and CEO of The Launch Code, and I want to talk to you today about something that is really important, but something you probably don't spend enough energy on in your business, and that's your value proposition. Now, I have the pleasure of working with a lot of really successful entrepreneurs, and one of the first things that I do is sit down with them and help them clarify exactly how to explain what their business does in really simple, easy to understand terms. It's shocking to me how many really passionate startup founders and small business owners can't do this. They can't really explain what the customer problem is that they're solving and who benefits and how. Now, this is really important because your value proposition actually reflects the focus of your business. It tells your customers what you do and why they should care. Now, if you can't explain this to me in less than 8 seconds, we've got a problem. The fact is you're probably losing sales. But the bigger problem is that it's not just sales that this is impacting. It's not just your communication, your website. It actually has a negative impact on your entire business. Because if your value proposition isn't clear and easy to understand, it's most likely your product development is unfocused and your team doesn't really understand how their work contributes to the overall success of the company. So listen up. This is a really critical thing that you need to fix now if your value proposition doesn't work. It's so important, in fact, that I've made it the #1 building block of my business development framework, the Launch Code. And so today, in this video, I'm going to explain to you a simple, foolproof 5-step process that you can use to create a clear and powerful value proposition for your business. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a value proposition? It's a clear and concise explanation of 3 things. What problem your business solves, for whom it solves this problem, and how you solve the problem in a unique way. In short, your value proposition tells your target customer why they should buy your product or service. Now, here are 2 examples of well-known companies that have a very clear value proposition. I want to share these with you so it kind of brings this concept to life. The first one is Facebook. Facebook is a social utility that helps people communicate with their friends and family members and coworkers by connecting them through an easy-to-use online platform. Here's another one, Salesforce. Salesforce is a software that helps businesses improve their sales results by collecting and analyzing customer information and creating quality sales management processes. Both of these are pretty clear as day, right? I mean, imagine what it would be like if your value proposition would be just as clear and just as powerful as that of Facebook and Salesforce. How much could you grow your business? Now, I found there are 3 typical mistakes people make when they're creating their value propositions. And let me take you through each of these individually. So mistake number 1, it highlights the features of your product or service and not the benefits it provides to your target customer. So let's say your company is called XYZ Corporation. XYZ Corporation is a leading developer of nanotechnology. Okay, but if I'm a customer, why should I care? Why is that good for me? I'd love to know. Mistake number 2, the target customer is either unclear or too broadly defined. XYZ Corporation is a leading developer of nanotechnology to the medical profession worldwide. Okay, but just because everybody can use your service doesn't mean everybody should use your service. How about if you narrowed your focus in this case to cardiologists working in private hospitals in Northern Europe? Wouldn't that become a much clearer value proposition for that target audience? Mistake number 3. The value proposition includes industry buzzwords that cloud your message to people who don't work in that industry. XYZ Corporation is a leading developer of microcellular nanotechnology built on a polymeric and lipid-based nanoparticles and used in the medical profession worldwide. Okay, I guess if you're in that industry, you might understand what that means. For me, it's all Greek. Make sure you don't fall into these same traps when you're creating your own value proposition. Your value proposition may differ for various customer segments. You can have multiple value propositions if you have different types of customers who use your product or service in different ways. So let me give you an example. Uber is a good example. Their value proposition is different to riders as it is to the drivers, right? For riders, we say, Uber helps city residents travel conveniently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by calling a ride with one click and tracking the driver. Really clear, right? Well, the company value proposition for riders is very different. Uber helps you earn income using your vehicles to transport passengers by making your availability visible to potential customers. Now, both statements are true and they're equally relevant to their own target audience. But here's a word of warning. Make sure you only have one value proposition for each customer segment, because otherwise you risk losing focus and clarity in your communication. Now, you must be wondering by now exactly how you create a powerful value proposition. Now, I've developed a foolproof 5-step process you can follow to write one that everyone, and I mean your customers, your business partners, your team, will understand. So step 1, determine the customer problem your business solves. You should be able to articulate a clear problem or need for a group of target customers. If you operate a business-to-business service, for example, typical needs are going to be increasing revenues, saving costs, boosting efficiency, or raising awareness. The closer you are to impacting your target customer's bottom line, the more must-have your product or service will become. Step 2, identify your target customer, their key characteristics, and their mindset. So don't fall into the trap of marketing your product or service to everybody. This is like trying to boil the ocean. It takes too long and it's just impractical. Instead, start by defining a typical customer segment according to certain demographic and psychographic characteristics, okay? These can include kind of facts and figures stuff like age, income, revenue level, industry or geographic location, and kind of touchy-feely stuff like believes in customer care or places a high value on quick response time. Targeting a clearly defined niche will help you focus your business and your marketing message and select your sales channels, because you'll be able to clearly identify who you want to reach with what message, okay? You're going to talk about things that your audience wants to hear and understand, so you're going to be much more powerful in the way you communicate. And just remember, before Amazon was the world's biggest retailer selling everything to everybody, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, basically wanted to sell one product to one target audience. He sold books to technology-savvy book lovers, and he grew from there. Step 3, name the product or service you're offering. So you want to give your product or service a simple name that an average person will understand, okay? It could be, very simple terms. Is it a marketing platform? Is it a software tool? Is it an e-commerce service, a design agency, a technology firm, or a business-to-business technology? Whatever it is, make sure you include a few specific and relevant characteristics that an average person will understand when they're talking about your business. Step 4, describe the key benefit your customer will experience. List all the ways in which your target customer is going to benefit from using your product or service in their business, in their life, or any other circumstances. Make sure you define both practical and emotional benefits, because remember, you're selling to people, and people will more likely make decisions on an emotional basis than on a rational basis. So you have to appeal to both of them. When you've got this full list, identify the single most important benefit based on your current understanding, and this is going to be your key benefit. Step 5, define why your solution is especially unique or valuable, okay? This is going to give you a competitive advantage. This is going to be basically that 1 or 2 reasons why your target customer should buy your product or service over and above your competition. Is your technology safer or more reliable? Do you offer greater convenience? Are you a better value for price? Whatever your special sauce is, make sure it meets 3 very basic criteria. First, your special offer or benefit should be meaningful. So it's something that creates value or has value in the eyes of your target customer. It should be deliverable, so something you can actually implement, and it should be defendable, so something you can protect from your competition. If you followed each of these steps very carefully, by this time you will be able to complete the following sentence. Company name is a, whatever your product or service definition is, that helps your target customer, 2, key benefit, buy, your competitive advantage. So if you fill in all of those gaps with the information from the answers to those 5 questions, you should be able to create a sentence with absolute clarity and that will explain what your business does. If you want to test it out, here's an example of something I often do. Show it to intelligent 10, 11, 12-year-old that's in your area or in your community. If they understand what your business does, then you've probably created a clear value proposition. If they don't have a clue, you have to go back to the drawing board. Creating a value proposition is a process, okay? Don't get discouraged if you don't get it right the first time. It's likely that you need to test several versions before you arrive at the one that really resonates with your target audience. You need to find your focus, and that requires you to let go of some initial assumptions. And sometimes that's the most difficult thing, right? You start out with a bunch of assumptions about your business, about why it's benefiting others, what the target customer is, and you just realize through experience that that's not actually what is the true benefit. And so you've got to let go of that stuff over the process as well. Eventually, you will be able to create a value proposition that is really clear and that resonates with your target audience. And if you get it right, you'll immediately feel it, because it's not only going to boost your bottom line as you start closing more and more sales, but you'll ensure the long-term prosperity of your business. And eventually, you and your business will blast off. Keep these tips in mind, and I look forward to following your success in the future.